So I covered my first event in a long time last weekend. It was a music festival in the forest. Now, that in itself was an attractive prospect to me. It's not a big mainstream festival, it's a lesser festival, which means there wasn't loads of bureaucracy and loads of security about. It was a bunch of people, a bunch of DJs, a bunch of organisers, a bunch of really cool people hanging around in the forest, dancing and chilling. It was like something out of a movie. And if you guys know me, I love my cinematic photography. So this was right for some great like stills and visuals that really capture the essence of good people having a good time. That's what event photography is all about. But it wasn't the case straight away. On the drive there, the old anxiety started coming back to haunt me. You know, what if these shots aren't good enough? What if the client doesn't like them? What if I miss this? What if I miss that? Because at a festival, as we all know, there's lots of stuff going on. And you're one guy walking around with a couple of cameras attached to you. One lens for one thing, one lens for another thing. That's a good tip, we'll get into that in a moment. But I'll tell you this, from the first snap of the camera to the last attachment of it to my chest, I was buzzing, man. I was absolutely buzzing. Guys, we're going to talk about event photography. Off the streets, shooting people, having a good time. This is Chris from Street Veins, and here's what we should be looking out for with event photography to better that day, to better the event, and to better yourself as a creative. Carrying around 2 camera bodies. That's the first thing that I really gravitated towards. For a long time now, I've been trying to shoot more events, I've been trying to shoot more couples, I've been trying to shoot weddings, I've been trying to get those bookings in there. One thing I've always seen with event photographers and wedding photographers in particular, they're always walking around with a harness with 2 camera bodies. Now, walking around with 1 camera body is fine. I mean, if you've got a versatile lens that can do long focal points and close range stuff, that's cool. But the day I was at this festival shooting, I had my 2 Canon bodies attached to me, the 5D Mark IV, the 5D Mark III. One of them had attached a 40mm lens, a prime lens, that can get all the way down to 2.8 f-stop. And the other body had the more versatile 24 to 105, the kit standard for that body. The magic thing with that lens is you could get the wide stuff at 24, so I could get group shots of people who came together. The 105 gave you that nice bit of focal range. You could get through the crowd to the DJs. You could photograph someone smoking in the background, someone dancing, someone chilling, someone vibing. When you're shooting close range with certain people, some people might get anxious that the camera's on them, and they might sort of stiffen up, and they might sort of have an eye on the camera. Also, they might try and pose to camera when you don't want them to. The beauty of shooting this event meant I could get people who were unaware and were just in themselves in that moment, and that shows in the photography and it shows on their face, shows them having a good time, which is important to show at an event's photography. The people who run the events want to show images of people enjoying themselves at these festivals and having a good time and being themselves and vibing with the music, and that's paramount. So have a lens that you can get quite a good focal distance on, 105. If you've got the light balance in there, if you're not shooting indoors and it's outside, something longer, maybe 300mm would be amazing, but bearing in mind your f-stop, you know, it's low light, it's going to be a bit more difficult with a longer focal point. The other body had the 40mm attached to it, so what that was really ideal for was some portraits, or like, you know, 2 shots of, you know, friends walking around saying, do you guys want to photograph together? And most people did. They hugged each other with a big smile, held their drinks up, and that's a great lens for that. Also really works well in low light. You can get that f-stop all the way down to 2.8, which lets loads more light in the camera, and you can still stick with that semi-fast shutter speed. So that's really ideal as well. Having 2 lenses and on 2 cameras really allows you to swap about at them in the moment and adjust your sort of style on the fly. There's nothing worse if you've got like the 1 camera and there's something going on that you want to get a shot of, but your lens you're wearing at the time is not quite up to snuff for the task. You've got to quickly whip your bag out, change around, and by the time you've changed your lens, you know, that moment's over. You mean you could recreate it by asking the people to sort of do it to camera, but it's never quite the same. Trying to catch people unawares at, you know, concerts and events and such is what the photography is all about. It's almost like you're invisible and catching that light on the wall. Engagement. When I arrived at this festival, it just happened to be because it was a smaller event with everybody who knew each other. There was a WhatsApp group with everybody at the festival on it. When I first arrived, I was sort of wandering around the campsite, didn't really know who to talk to, and some people who recognised me from the WhatsApp group came up, hugged me, welcomed me into their campsite. They gave me a spare tent they'd set up. We swapped stories, we got to know each other. You know, they were offering me drinks and such because I was working, but you know, it was a loose festival, and that put me at ease immediately. You know, talking to people, even though you're there working, it doesn't mean you have to be like animatronic, like you have to be some sort of robot. People will respond to you more as a photographer if you're sort of smiling and engaging with them. That's the most important thing. This works for street photography as well, guys. I mean, walking up to people, nodding at them, smiling at them, engaging with them. Do you guys want a picture together? Oh, that was amazing. Could you sort of do that again? You know, I'll step back. I'll tell you what, guys, how about, you know, I'm just going to stand in the middle of you guys while you dance and vibe to this, pretend I'm not even here. You'll work into the background and they'll be so comfortable with you. And that's really paramount in event photography. Don't ever doubt the power of talking to people and pushing yourself outside of that. Approaching someone with a big smile on is far more beneficial in this game than sort of sitting in the back. To be a photographer and to capture people's faces and moods and vibes is to engage with them personally as well. It's easy to stand back there with a 500mm lens and shoot everything from a distance, but you'll get so much more fulfilled if you approach people and engage with them as well, because there's nothing like having people who are relaxed around you because they know you, and the photos will be so much better. Also, engaging with people at a festival, who knows who you're going to speak to? I photographed one girl in the crowd who is a dancer who works in London at nightclubs. She said she'd pass my card around, pass my information around. We might end up working together for something on Street Veins quite soon. Wouldn't have known that if I'd spoken to her. If I hadn't spoken to her, I wouldn't know that, and we wouldn't have made that exchange. You never know who's there, who wants to contact with you, who wants to vibe with you, who wants to get to know you, who wants to network with you. It's all better a part of the course that makes those photos better and makes you better. Break out a flash. Now, I was terrified of flash for years. I sort of still am in a way. I'm quite proficient with a speed light. Now, as an event photographer, I don't think it's too, great to be walking around using flash all the time. Just like shooting live concerts, it might distract people, it might, ruin the moment and such. Use it, but sparingly, especially if you're shooting an event at night. This festival I shot at, on the evening of the Saturday where I was there were lights flashing around all over the place. The place was set out with mirrors in the forest, so there was a lot of reflections, a lot of people wearing bright coloured raving sort of stuff, and it was really cool. I'm not the most confident at low light at the moment, but when I saw the photos the next day, I was like, okay, that's a lot better. The flash I was using at this event was a Godox IM30. Found this online actually. It's a really, really cool little flash. Tiny little thing. It plugs straight into your hot shoe. Look at that. I mean, I love using a speed light, but this thing, you plug it in, it's manual, you've got to adjust it on the dial. So if you're not too good with flash settings, then, it's by the by. You can quickly change the settings and you can quickly fire it off. And it does provide some nice little fill. So if you're not confident that well with the flash, maybe buy a small one like this, give that an experimentation, but don't rely on it fully. Your ISO's there for a reason. Bump that ISO up to get stuff in the night, but you want to capture all those night lights going around. If it's an event you're shooting where it's maybe a networking event, people are walking around in suits and dresses with drinks, you want to make it look, you don't want to make it look too overexposed. You want to make it look like something from a red carpet event or whatever. You should have a good ISO set up. Set your ISO on like some sort of auto setting, but not too high. Set it for like a range. On my Canons that I shoot on, you can set a range of ISO between 100 and say 6400, and then it will just stay within that range. Or you want to go much higher than that. Again, it all comes down to sort of what sort of noise reduction you have in your editing software. Lightroom's is pretty good. So there we have it, guys. Those are some things that really I anchored to when doing event photography last weekend gone. Most important thing is using these events, using work like this to better yourself as a photographer. Going out and doing street photography is one thing, and it's a great thing because of the pure raw creativity of it. Outside in the streets, no studio, no assistants, no lighting. It's just you, your camera and your eye. But at events you can transfer those skills over. Capture stuff in the way that only you can. You're looking out for those things to capture those moments. People dancing, people vibing, people talking. Talk of them as well yourself. Don't just sit in the background. Use these events to not only build up your style and capture those moments, but also to make those connections and make yourself better in and out. You know, be chatty, talk with people, ask them if they want their photographs taken, hand out your cards, feel the confidence in and the vibes around you and feed off of that. Event photography, festival photography, it all ties into making you a better creative, and as I always say, you're better than you know. Guys, get out there, network, try and cover an event if you can. It's all part about making you a better photographer. Chris out.